downstairs from me. And I said, hey, I'm telling you, I live upstairs. And he goes, oh, you're the one with the rolling chair. I was like, oh. Sorry. I didn't realize you could hear me.
Eliza was eating candy. She's bringing that for everyone.
Eliza, why are you eating candy?
I did it.
That excuse never worked for me.
Okay, guess what I have tomorrow?
Where are you going?
Tomorrow you're taking this quiz. I'll let you look at it for 1 second. I don't want you filming.
I can't see
I'll
it.
film it.
Don't film
The papers are in the way.
Not bad.
Okay. I'm sorry, I blame you.
So, study the skull. Tomorrow there's a skull quiz. We're going to do more IDs today. But I want to talk about more parts. So if you would, try and listen to how I'm saying the words. And you'll use these in your IDs. Yes, what's up? Practice starts Wednesday. Tomorrow there's a meeting after school. Where were you this weekend? Everybody was at Ocean Forest.
I called and they didn't pick up on Thursday, and then when I called Friday, they told me it was too late to sign up for this.
A likely story.
You can ask, what's his name?
What's his
I have his name.
I'll ask Alex.
It is Alex. It is.
I play a little basketball with you.
I was talking to a woman on the phone. The first time I talked to Alex, and then I talked to someone.
All right. This is the backbone. Listen up. The backbone has different types of vertebrae. The cervical vertebrae are the ones in the neck. And they're all shaped differently than the thoracic vertebrae. Those are the ones in the upper back. And those are shaped differently than the lumbar vertebrae. Those are the ones in the lower back. So you'll see all three types in the box of bones that we have. Cervical, thoracic, lumbar vertebrae.
What's
Yes?
the vertebrae between the thoracic and lumbar? That one in the middle.
This?
No, the one up.
Here?
Yeah, that was different.
That's part of the thoracic. I don't know why that looks different. Down here, this is called the sacrum. It's actually 5 fused vertebrae that have grown together while the baby was developing. And we call that whole thing the sacrum. And down here, this is the coccyx. It's pronounced Coccyx. Like a rooster. Coccyx. And it's made of 3 fused vertebral bones. And it's like a little tailbone. And like I said, some people don't have the gene that turns off the formation of the vertebrae, and it keeps adding vertebrae to the fetus, and that ends up as a tail. And the people are born with tails. They're about that long. If you want to see human tails, you can Google it.
Oh, go ahead. Let's do it.
Now, so when you look sideways at the vertebral column, you see the cervical curvature, thoracic curvature, lumbar curvature, sacral curvature, and it's in the shape of kind of an S or a zigzag. We have an S-shaped spine, and that helps hold your weight up. If you had a straight spine like an 8, it just kind of goes down straight like this, you couldn't hold up all that weight very easily. There's what the 3 types of vertebrae look like. The vertebrae have parts to them. We'll talk about this one. The spinous process sticks out. The superior articulating process is a portion that touches the vertebrae above it. If you were to turn this thing around, You'd see something on the bottom side that looks kind of like that, and it's called the inferior articulating process. But you can't see it in this picture. The transverse process sticks out to the side. The vertebral foramen is this hole that goes down through, and that's where your spinal cord goes. So the spinal cord sits there and is protected by all this bone. That's the main job of the vertebrae, is to protect the spinal cord. Spinal cord is how information is taken from all over your body into the brain, and it has to be well protected. Vertebrae also holds you up. The pedicle is this little bone, piece of bone, part of the bone that sticks out, that holds the rest of it onto the body of the vertebrae, which is the big, thick part. You can see in the cervical vertebrae, the spinous process has two pieces coming off of it. And it's called the bifid spinal process. Bi meaning two, bifid. The bifid spinal process. I've heard it pronounced bifid though, not bifid, but bi means two. It has two little processes. The top two vertebrae in the body are called the atlas and the axis. The atlas looks like this. It's what the head, the skull, sits on. Y'all remember Atlas is holding up the planet? Y'all ever seen that? So that the atlas is the vertebrae that holds up the skull. The axis has a little thing sticking up called the dens that allows the atlas to turn. That little thing right there looks just like a trailer hitch. You know, where you put the trailer over the hitch, if you're hauling a boat or something like that, that looks like a trailer hitch. And this little piece right here fits right over that, you see. And then the atlas can shift back and forth as you turn your head. So the atlas and the axis are the top two vertebrae. They have special names. I don't really have you know all these parts. We don't do all the bone parts, just some of them. Let's look at the ribs. The ribs are divided up into true ribs. True ribs all have a direct connection to the sternum. It's a cartilage connection. This is all cartilage here, but it's a direct connection. The false ribs down here all have an indirect connection to the sternum. They have to connect through somebody else's connection, and so they're called false ribs. And so the connection goes to another connection. So 8, 9, 10, and 11 here. 8, 9, and 10 are we call them vertebrochondral ribs that attach. Vertebro means attached to the vertebrae on one side, and chondral means attached to cartilage on the other side. Chondral meaning cartilage. So these ribs go from the vertebrae to the cartilage. These last two ribs are called floating ribs, and they aren't attached to anything. They're just kind of there floating. Some people are born with an extra set of floating ribs. So some people have 2 more bones than other people. And it's those extra floating ribs that are real small. You know what we call a structure like that that's so small it's almost gone? There's a name for it. Biological evolutionary name.
Inferior bone.
Thought I might have heard somebody say it.
Inferior analogous?
Vestigial?
Vestigial. It's a vestigial structure. Remember that, Carla? Carla would know that. She was not choosing to participate. Okay. This is the scapula. It's your shoulder blade. It's got parts too. Inferior border, coracoid process, coracoid, acromion process, The spine of the scapula runs here. When people are doing IDs, they see spine and they immediately go for the backbone. But they're talking about the spine of the scapula, which runs right there. And check this out. There's a little indented portion there. That's the supraspinous fossa. Supra means above. Spinous means above the spine. It's a fossa, an indentation above the spine. So guess what the indentation below the spine would be called? Infraspinous fossa. Infra means below. So you got the supraspinous fossa above the spine and the infraspinous fossa below the spine. There's a little cavity right here where the humerus goes called the glenoid cavity. And that's about it for the scapula. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The sternum's actually 3 bones that have grown together. The xiphoid process, the body, and the manubrium. Manubrium, body, xiphoid process. That's pronounced xiphoid, like a Z.
Is that what they cut when they give you like heart surgery?
Yes. They'll go through here and cut this and open
Does
you
it
up.
break your ribs then?
I don't know.
Does it just grow back together?
Yeah, it'll heal. The bone will heal. Just like a broken bone will.
Couldn't they go on underneath the ribs? Or like
Come in from underneath.
Yeah, isn't there any newer type
A what?
of, isn't there any newer type of surgery that when it
Uh,
actually put pregnant?
I don't know. The one problem is you have your diaphragm down here. That's underneath here. It's a big muscle. I don't know if you want to be cutting through the diaphragm.
Not a good idea.
It's a good question. I don't know.
I think that's free.
Have to ask a heart surgeon when they get here. My dad would know.
Ask him.
He's a general surgeon. Maybe I'll call him in just a second.
Your dad's a general?
That'd be awesome.
No, general surgery means he doesn't have a specialty.
It was a joke.
He's retired too, so he's actually not. You're thinking of the Surgeon General.
Yeah.
He is a general.
Again, it was just a joke.
Oh, you're wrong.
You know what this is?
I know that.
That's your humerus. The head of the humerus. The greater and lesser tubercles are big outpokings there. The surgical neck and the anatomical neck. I don't think you have to know the...
You do need to know surgical.
You need to know surgical but not anatomical.
No.
The deltoid tuberosity is a little bump that the deltoid muscle attaches to. Coronoid fossa. Lateral epicondyle is on the outside. Medial epicondyle is on the inside. So the best way to do it, to keep from getting those two confused, is just to look. The head is always on the inside of the bone, so that'll be the medial epicondyle, not the lateral. The trochlea is this thing right here, this pointed part. And this is called the olecranon fossa. I've also heard it called olecranon. I'm not sure which is correct.
Because you hold your breath and then you figure something.
Last one, let's do the radius. Oh no, we got to do 2 more. Radius and the ulna and then the hand.
That's 3.
There's the head of the radius, the head of the ulna. They're opposite, y'all. Olecranon process sticks into the olecranon fossa on the previous bone. So that part of the ulna right there goes into this little hole here. See, olecranon fossa, olecranon process. Are y'all with me? There's a little styloid process. There's 2 of them. There's a styloid process on each side here at the bottom. And finally, you have the hand. Now, the phalanges are the finger bones, and we say that it has distal phalanx, middle phalanx, and proximal phalanx. And they're numbered 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1 being the thumb. And so this right here is the right hand. If we talk about this bone, we would say the number 4 middle phalanx of the right hand. And here are the metacarpals. And here are the carpals. The carpals are 8 bones. And there's an easy way to remember it. Starting at this bone that's called the scaphoid. And maybe it's easier to see from here. No. Anyway, you say so long top part. Those 4 bones, so long top part. Scaphoid lunate, so long, scaphoid lunate. Top, this one underneath here is called the triquetrum. And this one on the top here is called pisiform. So long top part. Here comes the thumb. Here meaning hamate. Comes meaning capitate. The trapezoid. Thumb trapezium. So long top part. Here comes the thumb. Are y'all with me? This is one, when you do the hand, you may not want to go in order on the sheet, because the sheet has it in alphabetical order. But if you want to just run off so long top part, here comes the thumb for me, do it out of order. You see what I'm saying? What is this right here? Oh, you want to see the man with the lost hand?
Sure.
Shocking medical video.
When a young man severs his hand in a freak accident, it's a race against time to find and reattach the missing limb. It's a warm July evening. Paramedics are frantically trying to stabilize a young man whose hand was severed on the rooftop of a skyscraper. His hand was sliced off by a huge industrial fan and flung 17 stories toward the ground, where it disappeared into the night. Rescue workers break into 2 teams. The fire department stays behind to hunt for the missing limb, while paramedics rush the victim to the hospital. A news crew covering the story joins in the search. Time is critical. If there's any hope of reattaching the severed hand, the limb must be found quickly and delivered to the surgeons. Amazingly, nearly 30 minutes after the accident, it's the news cameraman who stumbles upon the lost hand, lying in a gutter 150 feet away and 17 stories down from where the accident occurred. The hand, which had been run over by a car, is carried by a paramedic to an ambulance. The hand is washed, packed in ice, and rapidly transported to the hospital. A team of surgeons immediately goes to work. Because the hand has been crushed by a car, it makes reattachment extremely difficult. In a delicate 8-hour operation, doctors reattach the hand and miraculously restore much of its use. Today, thanks to the quick thinking of the paramedics and exhaustive search by the news crew, the incident made medical history as the only time a hand was lost, found, and reattached.